I am going to tell you about a little girl born in a quiet mountain village, where the air was crisp, the olive trees swayed in the wind, and the church bells rang at dawn and dusk. Her name was Maria, and from the moment she opened her eyes, there was something different about her. Her parents were poor but holy, people who worked hard every day but never forgot to pray. Her mother often said, "Maria, life is not measured by what we have, but by how we love." Even as a child, Maria was drawn to God in a way that surprised everyone. She would sneak away to the chapel, kneeling before the tabernacle for hours, sometimes just staring silently at the Eucharist. She didn't always know what to say in prayer, but she would whisper to Jesus, "I want to love you. I want to be a saint." Her innocence and devotion amazed her parish priest, who would often tell her, "Maria, your heart is already a cathedral for God." I am going to tell you that Maria's life was not always easy. Her family struggled to make ends meet, and her father fell seriously ill when she was just 12. Maria took on work in the fields, carrying heavy baskets of olives, sweeping floors, and helping her mother weave cloth to sell at the market. Many girls her age were playing and laughing, but Maria's days were full of labor and worry. Yet even in the hard moments she found ways to offer love to God. Every chore became a prayer. Every act of service became a small sacrifice. She learned early that holiness is born in ordinary life, in the choices we make when no one is watching. When Maria was 17, she met Sister Clara, a kind nun who had come to teach at the village school. Sister Clara saw in Maria a rare spark of faith and joy. "Maria," she said one afternoon as they walked along the olive groves, "God calls some to live quietly, some to serve openly, and some to give their whole lives to Him. I believe you are being called to give everything." Maria felt her heart leap and her knees weaken. That night, she knelt before her small crucifix at home and whispered, "Jesus, if you want me, I will follow. I give you my whole life." It was a simple prayer, but it changed everything. I am going to tell you that life in the convent was far from easy. Maria learned quickly that being holy did not mean being perfect. Some sisters judged her, thinking she was too emotional or too young. She struggled to pray during long hours of silence, and there were days when she felt unseen and unimportant. But Maria discovered something extraordinary. Holiness is not about being praised. It is about choosing love again and again, especially when it is hard. During her novitiate, Maria worked in the convent infirmary. She tended to the sick and elderly with tender hands and a gentle voice. One night, a frail woman began crying quietly. Maria knelt beside her, holding her hand. "Do not be afraid," Maria whispered. "Jesus is here with you." The woman looked into Maria's eyes and smiled for the first time in weeks. In that moment, Maria understood that serving others is serving God Himself. I'm going to tell you about the epidemic that struck the village. People were terrified. Many abandoned the sick, afraid of catching the disease. But Maria did not hesitate. She threw herself into the work, day and night, washing wounds, feeding the hungry, comforting the dying. Sometimes her hands were raw from scrubbing, and her body ached from exhaustion. Yet she sang hymns softly to keep her own spirit strong and whispered constantly, "Jesus, let me be your hands today." Even as she served, Maria fell ill herself. Her body grew weak, but her faith never wavered. The sisters begged her to rest, but she smiled and said, "How can I leave the cross when Jesus still hangs upon it?" I am going to tell you that in her last days, Maria's heart shone brighter than ever. She prayed for every sick person she had touched, for every sister, and for her family. She held a small wooden crucifix to her chest and whispered, "My Jesus, make me small enough to fit inside your heart." Then at just 21 she passed peacefully, her face radiant with joy and love. I am going to tell you that Maria's story did not end with her death. Miracles began to happen. A child who had been blind regained sight. A sick man who had given up hope awoke healed. Hearts that had been hardened softened. People who knew her spoke of her kindness, her laughter, and her extraordinary love. The Church later recognized her heroic virtue and beatified her as Blessed Maria of the Cross, a shining example of what it means to be a Catholic woman of faith. Her life teaches us this: sainthood is not about grandeur or recognition. It is about loving without measure, serving without complaint, forgiving even when it hurts, and trusting God even when life is hard. Every woman who chooses to pray, to care, to love, and to hope is walking the path Maria walked. I am going to tell you this, and I want you to remember it. Holiness begins today in the small choices, the quiet sacrifices, and the endless acts of love that no one sees but God. Every act of kindness, every prayer offered in silence, every moment you choose love over anger brings you closer to sainthood. Do everything with love, and you will find God in everything. Blessed Maria of the Cross.